The winter wind howled through the narrow streets of downtown Los Angeles, biting through torn clothes and empty pockets. Under the dim glow of a flickering streetlight sat a boy, barefoot, thin, and trembling. His name was Eli Turner, a 15-year-old with nothing but a cracked guitar, a heart full of pain, and a voice that could make the world stop. The city passed him by every night, people rushing to warmth, to dinner, to someone who waited for them. No one waited for Eli. He was the kind of boy people avoided eye contact with, not out of cruelty, but guilt. But tonight was different. Tonight, Eli sang. The sound that left his lips was not just music, it was a cry, a confession, a soul pouring itself into the cold night. His voice carried through the street, raw and trembling, echoing off brick walls and through hearts that didn't want to feel. It was a song about loss, a song for a mother who used to hum lullabies under the glow of a broken kitchen bulb before cancer stole her away. Pedestrians slowed down. Cars stopped at green lights. For a fleeting moment, the city listened. An old man, holding a cup of coffee, whispered, "That boy, he's not just singing. He's remembering someone." Eli finished his song with tears streaming down his dirt-streaked face. His guitar string snapped at the final note, leaving silence heavier than the sound. Then, something miraculous happened. A woman stepped forward and dropped a $20 bill in his guitar case. Another followed. And another. Within minutes, coins and bills filled the case. Eli didn't count them. He just smiled softly and whispered, "Thank you." That night, when the city lights blurred through his tears, Eli found himself feeling something he hadn't in years: hope. The next morning, Eli woke up under the same bridge he'd called home since his mother passed away and his father disappeared into addiction. His blanket was thin, his stomach empty, but his spirit, somehow, was alive. He picked up his guitar, restrung it with old wires, and walked to the same corner. "Maybe she'll hear me today," he muttered to himself. He didn't mean anyone specific. She could have been his mother, heaven, or maybe the world itself. All he knew was that he had to keep singing. By the third week, people started recognizing him. Commuters called him the singing kid. A few recorded him on their phones, posting videos online with captions like, "This boy on the streets just broke my heart." One video, shaky and filmed by a woman waiting for her bus, showed Eli singing in the rain, soaked, barefoot, eyes closed as he sang through thunder. That clip hit 2 million views overnight. Suddenly, the world that once ignored him couldn't stop watching. A local news crew arrived a few days later. Eli, overwhelmed and shy, could barely speak when the reporter asked, "Why do you sing, Eli?" He looked straight into the camera, his brown eyes glimmering. "Because music doesn't need a home to belong," he said softly. "It just needs a heart." That single line became a quote plastered across social media. Comments poured in, thousands of people offering help, love, and money. But Eli didn't care about fame. All he wanted was to sing one song on a real stage, where his mother could hear him from heaven. Then came the message that would change everything. A well-known music producer named Rachel Morgan, known for discovering rising stars, saw Eli's video while scrolling late at night. Something about the boy's voice, its broken purity, its naked honesty, stopped her. She'd built her career on perfection, on producing polished stars who sparkled under spotlights. But Eli's rawness, it was something she'd never heard before. She drove to downtown Los Angeles that same week, searching for him. When she found him singing outside a grocery store, his guitar held together by tape and faith, Rachel stood silently at the edge of the crowd. He was singing an original song called "Empty Hands." It was about holding onto love even when everything else slips away. Tears streamed down her cheeks. When the song ended, she approached him. "That song, did you write it?" she asked. Eli nodded timidly. "Yeah, it's all I have left." Rachel took a deep breath. "You have something rare, Eli. Something the world needs to hear. How would you feel about recording it, for real?" He blinked, unsure if this was another dream he'd wake up from. "Ma'am, I don't have money for that." She smiled. "You don't need money. You just need your voice." The following weeks felt like a miracle wrapped in disbelief. Rachel brought him to her studio, a place filled with warmth, light, and instruments that gleamed like promises. For the first time in years, Eli showered, slept in a real bed, and ate food that didn't come from a trash bin. But more than that, he felt seen. When he stepped into the recording booth, barefoot but brave, Rachel said, "Just sing it like you did on the street, like you're singing to her." He closed his eyes and began. The song poured out like a river breaking through a dam. Every lyric carried the weight of loss, love, and survival. When he finished, the studio was silent except for Rachel's quiet sobbing. She whispered, "You just changed something inside me, Eli." That night, they uploaded the song to YouTube under the title, "Empty Hands, Eli Turner." By morning, it had 5 million views. By the end of the week, 50 million. Television shows called. Radio hosts cried on air as they played his song. Donations flooded in, not just for Eli, but for shelters, orphanages, and homeless teens across the country. People wrote that his story reminded them to be kind, to listen, to see the invisible among them. Eli became a symbol, not of fame, but of hope born from despair. When Rachel told him a record label wanted to sign him, he hesitated. "Only if I can do it my way," he said. "What's your way?" she asked. Eli smiled softly. "Every concert I do, every song I sing, it's for the kids still out there on those streets. I don't want to forget where I came from." Months passed. The boy who once sang for coins was now performing on the biggest stage in America, America's Got Talent. The producers had invited him for a special guest performance after hearing his viral story. The auditorium was packed. Millions watched live from around the world. The lights dimmed. A single spotlight bathed the stage. Eli stood in silence, clutching his old, repaired guitar. Before he played, he spoke softly into the microphone. "I used to think I was invisible. I used to sing on a cold street corner, hoping someone, anyone, would hear me. Tonight, I'm singing for every kid who feels forgotten. You're not invisible. You're not alone." Then, he began to sing, "Empty Hands." But this time, it wasn't just his voice that carried the song. It was the voices of everyone who had ever felt unseen, unheard, or unloved. When he reached the final chorus, his voice cracked with emotion. The audience rose to their feet. The judges wept openly. And when the last note faded, the entire arena stood in silence before erupting into thunderous applause. The world was crying, and for once, those tears meant something beautiful. After the show, Rachel hugged him tightly backstage. "Eli, do you realize what you just did?" He shook his head, still trembling. "You reminded people of their humanity," she said, her eyes glistening. "You made the world feel again." The clip from that night, Eli's trembling voice, his heartfelt words, and the standing ovation, became one of the most viewed videos in the world. Journalists called him, the boy who made the world cry. But to Eli, he was just the same kid with a guitar and a dream, to make someone smile, even for a moment. Fame didn't change him, it only amplified his kindness. He used his earnings to build a foundation for homeless children, naming it, Empty Hands Foundation, a tribute to the song that started it all. He often returned to the same street corner where it began, not to sing for fame, but for peace. Sometimes, he'd see other kids sitting there, guitars in hand, hoping someone would listen. He'd smile and drop $100 bill into their case, whispering, "Keep singing. The world needs your song." Years passed. His name became legend. His albums topped charts, but his greatest legacy wasn't in awards, it was in lives changed. Shelters built. Children saved. Hearts healed through his music. One night, years after his rise to stardom, Eli returned to that bridge where he once slept. He sat down, closed his eyes, and began to strum his guitar. A little girl approached, holding her mother's hand. "Mommy," she whispered, "that man sounds like the singer from the TV." The mother smiled. "He is, sweetheart. That's Eli Turner." The girl ran up and asked shyly, "Why are you singing here if you're famous?" Eli looked up, smiling softly. "Because this is where my songs were born." He played one final melody, a lullaby his mother used to hum, and whispered, "For you, Mom." The city lights flickered, the breeze stilled, and for a moment, everything felt complete. Years later, when Eli Turner passed away peacefully in his sleep, the world mourned not just a musician but a soul that had healed millions. On the night of his memorial concert, Tens of thousands gathered across the globe, holding candles and singing, empty hands. And as their voices rose into the night sky, one could almost believe that somewhere above the clouds, a mother was smiling, whispering, "You did it, my boy." Epilogue. The legacy of kindness. Eli Turner's story became a timeless reminder that greatness doesn't come from where you start, but from what you give. His journey from forgotten street corners to global stages proved that kindness, resilience, and authenticity could move mountains and hearts. Every year, his foundation continues to help thousands of homeless children find food, education, and family. On the walls of every shelter he built, his words are engraved. Greater than, music doesn't need a home to belong. It just needs a heart. And so, the boy who once sang to the empty streets became the voice that made the world cry, and, more importantly, the reason it learned to feel again.